Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide, with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time, to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the Allies, Arrowhead Allies.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs, freaks worldwide of all ages, welcome to the 2023 NFL Kansas City Chiefs Free Agent Freakout Frenzy. It may be a surprise, but we tell no lies. You are in with the Arrowhead Allies. Can you feel me, baby?
Wow, I thought this was the Royal Spring Training preview, Shane. So I'm glad I'm in the right place, my friend. This is good news for me. So it's great to, guys, for a month, you've all sat back, you've wallowed, you've reveled in the glory, you've waited, you've yearned. So send a Snapchat, send an Instagram reel, tell your friends that the sexy beasts of the Arrowhead Allies are back, baby.
Oh, yeah. Hey, y'all know what time it is, the show that brings you so much fun. It's the Allies, baby. It's us and the Avengers. That's the only crews that I know that are real dominant when it comes to this earth. So I hope you guys are ready to hear about the madness that is going on with free agency, especially when it comes to the Chiefs. Some new stuff happening. But what's up, Brian?
It is good to see you all, fellas. I'm ready to talk a little football. I've taken a little victory lap per se on TikTok, going at Eagles and Bengals fans. But it feels good to be a Chiefs fan, baby. Yes, it does.
Woo!
Absolutely, guys. I am just reveling in what was Super Bowl 57 as we are heading towards officially now, well, maybe tomorrow if it's the official start of the season in free agency on Wednesday, heading towards Super Bowl 58. This is when the foundation is laid and what Brett Veach is best at. Even though I have a little gripe with his wide receivers, Clint and I, fresh back from the scouting combine in Indianapolis, where we talked to Andy Reid and Brett Veach. And Clint, I think you got a really good question to Andy Reid, so take us through that first.
Well, for Andy Reid, it's funny because Andy Reid came to the podium and people just sort of froze like a deer in headlights. Like,
it was great.
I think you can even audibly hear me kind of jokingly say, "Oh my God," as he comes out. It's just my personality to be kind of a weirdo, but people just froze. And so Noah and I, we took it from there and were able to ask Andy if there was ever a doubt as a coach, as someone that's been in this league for, 30 years, was there ever a doubt in Super Bowl 57? Your quarterback's hurt. He's limping around. You just failed to score before halftime and gave up 3 points on the other end. Was there ever a doubt? Andy Reid assured us, Noah, there was never a doubt, not when you have Patrick Mahomes at the helm, and I take that at face value, and I will remember that forever, and I will just put that in my heart and lock it up.
Yeah, and I talked to Brett Veach. I got to ask him about the receivers. It was a thing all year long with me, as it usually is. I love receivers. And when they missed on McCole Hardman, they didn't take DK Metcalf, and then I feel like they should have taken George Pickens, but they went with Sky Moore. And I wasn't a huge fan of our receiving core last year. It sounds like they may bring it back. We'll see what happens. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But I'd asked Brett kind of about their philosophy on the receiver position. And those two picks, Sky Moore and McCole Hardman over George Pickens and DK Metcalf. And here's what Brett had to say. Brett, talking about the receiver position regarding your drafts, 2019, DK Metcalf sitting there. You guys move up and take McCole Hardman. Last year, George Pickens is sitting there. You move down. Steelers take him. You guys take Sky Moore. Yeah. Just can you talk about those two kind of draft picks and kind of decisions, and then your overall philosophy on the receiver position?
I don't think that the physical attributes in regards to, we're looking for good football players, and we're also looking for, a room fit, a cultural fit, how they fit with our coaching staff. I mean, there's so many things that we take in consideration, every year when you have these drafts and you see whether it be a mock draft or guys listening on the board. I mean, I think people tend to forget that, there's a lot of dialogue. It's not like Chiefs like smaller receivers.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we like good football players, but do they pass the medical? Do they pass, the interviews with our coaches, with our offensive coordinator, with our receiver coach, with our head coach? Is the chemistry there? Do they feel like they'll be a good blend in our locker room with our current receiving group? So there's a lot of things that factor into it. And, I think in both those cases, I think we felt like the fit from the health, medical grades to the, how they interviewed with us and, how we thought they'd come in and catch on quickly and how we can move them around, things like that. I think we take all that into consideration, and sometimes there are factors, and I'm not saying anything to do with those two guys, but just as a whole, I think there's a lot of underlying information that we have to just be accountable for, and sometimes they move you in a different direction, and you continue to just move on and learn from each experience.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Now hold on, Veach. You're telling me you want good football players. I know DK Metcalf had his medical concerns, so they went with McCole Hardman instead. He said that's something they look into. They also look at locker room cultural fit, how they interview with the coaches and the staff. But since I know George Pickens, there's kind of some rumors that he's rough around the edges. Maybe he wasn't a locker room culture fit, but he also said he wanted good football players, and he left two on the board, and DK Metcalf and George Pickens, and took McCole Hardman, who's going to move on somewhere else. And Sky Moore didn't have a very impressive rookie season. I know he scored the touchdown there in the Super Bowl, had a big kickoff return against the Bengals there in the AFC Championship game. But he was still lined up wrong on his touchdown in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes had to improvise and make it work, make chicken salad out of chicken, we know what. But I disagree with what he's doing in the draft. We'll see maybe what he can do this year and get back off the schneid and take a really good wide receiver finally.
Noah, you got to understand, Brett Veach at the Combine, guys, was taking a victory lap of his own. Before that clip, you kind of saw Veach take the podium kind of like, well, here we are again, boys. Like he kind of had that attitude. So he wasn't wanting to hear anything about Noah and these little miss chances at wide receivers. So
like
he had to kind of think
this is what rebuilding looks like.
But what can you seriously though? The proof is in the pudding, fellas. 2 Super Bowl rings. What are we even talking about? And it's a different game, man. We're not playing the game that the Eagles are playing. We're not we have to minimize the costs with these receivers as far as the free agents are concerned. Now the draft, you do have credence to your criticism of Veach as far as picking. Look, if you go back and you pick DK Metcalf over McCole, who knows what this Chiefs offense would look like? But man, but we won the Super Bowl twice with these receivers, with these substandard receivers, and you kind of I don't want to say you contradicted yourself, but you proved yourself wrong with your own statement when you came out and you said, you drafted Sky Moore. I don't like him, but he had a big return against the Bengals. He had a touchdown against the Eagles.
How was he all season long? What's he do?
Look, you talk about McCole. And McCole had big plays up and down the season. Now he was hurt, but he's not an injury prone player. He played all throughout his career up until this year when he had bad luck with an injury, man. So I can't ride with you with the criticism of each and these receivers, man. The picks were made for a reason. We know why McCole was picked.
And I think he's done a great job. McCole was picked because we thought we were going to be without Tyreek Hill because of that situation. Sky Moore kind of
people forget.
Yeah, people forget that.
Don't.
We were in fear that we will have no Tyreek Hill, so let's go get the guy who looks Tyreek Hill like from Georgia. And then with Sky Moore, I just think that he's going to grow. Like he came from a smaller school in Central Michigan. He's figuring things out. Hey, so I listened to the Kelsey podcast, and Travis actually said that he was in the wrong spot, and that's what confused Patrick Mahomes on the Sky Moore touchdown. But I look at a guy like Golden Tate, who came out kind of slow, who came on. And if Sky Moore can turn into a Golden Tate, who they have similar numbers in their rookie year, Golden Tate had 21 catches, 227 yards. If he can become a Golden Tate type guy, man, I think Sky Moore can be great in this offense.
Fair enough.
The dog agrees.
Yeah, props to
Kingston.
2 things. Props to Brett Veach first for Noah giving you a lengthy professional
Insightful,
answer.
yeah.
He could have
Yeah.
just said, yeah, we saw it, we did what we did, and we went on. You know, he really tried to explain to you, hey, we had those other guys come in. There was some injury concerns that we looked at, and we wanted to see how they gelled with the coaching staff, and in a long about way, which is really cool that he respected you enough to give you that answer. You know, he really said, hey, we had those two guys come in. We felt like they didn't fit within the locker room. We went a different direction. But I think it's time now, you know, if we're going to moving forward, look at everything else he's done. I know it's easy for us to magnify the second round draft of the Kansas City Chief. I mean, I could go back to John Dorsey's last second round draft pick, and then he took Tano Passanio over Alvin Kamara. I was pretty mad about
Yes.
that. But
Yeah, that
always since the last couple of years, Brett Veach has built this team up with free agents and rookies. He built the secondary up with rookies, and he just threw them out there. That's something that we discussed in depth all season. So Brett Veach is without a doubt the best general manager in the National Football League, and I'll die on that hill.
Look,
I'll die on that hill for Brett, baby.
can I please have this dance, please?
Go for it.
All right.
I don't know if I want it.
No, first off, love the coverage that Noah and Clint are bringing
Amen.
to
Thank you, guys.
RKmedia.com. Fantastic stuff, fellas. I've been retweeting and paying attention to you. I appreciate it. It gives us an inside analysis that we wouldn't have if it wasn't for you all. But with that being said, look, if we want to play this game of the NFL, okay, think about how many teams in 2017 are saying, well, damn, we could have had Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Oh, think about all the teams that passed on Travis Kelce in 2013. A third-round pick who's a certified first ballot, no doubt about it, Hall of Famer, best tight end of all time. Think about how many teams are saying, damn, we could have had Travis Kelce. Not once, not 3 times for some teams.
Yeah.
Like, look, it comes and goes, man. And I think for the Chiefs having the production out of the wide receiver position they've been having, first off, it's a testament to the offense of Eddie Reed, but you had the ultimate trump card in 15.
Brian,
Yeah.
I got to take you to task just a little bit, only because, and this is where I want to go next, as we're talking about the wide receiver group, is because I follow you on TikTok, one of the best TikTok follows I have, my brother.
I appreciate it.
You talked about this DeAndre Hopkins situation, and the quote you used was, this receiving core needs a little more juice. So what does that mean going forward? We talked about, I don't think that means 33-year-old Adam Thielen. Surely that doesn't mean that.
I pray to God, no.
Right.
Look, I respect Alan Thielen's game, and he had his day. He great route runner, great hands.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the juice that I'm referring to, though.
Right.
I'm maybe I'm just still stuck on the Tyreek Hill era Chiefs, but that offense was just so dependable. I guess there was so many ways that it could kill you. That Kadarius Toney isn't the most reliable when it comes to health, and I love Kadarius Toney,
Yeah.
but it is what it is with him. You're losing McCole, you're losing Juju right now as it stands. And I understand that the college is a wide receiver factory right now. And the wide receiver market is down. There are no Christian Kirks this year. You're not teams are not budging on these contracts, which could work in the Chiefs' favor at the end of the day. But yes, it does need a little more juice. It needs with the facts being the facts with Kadarius and losing McCole and all these other things going on. You need some juice in there. And do you go to the draft? I'm not sure right now where Brett Veach goes with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if last season was a little bit of an outlier as far as what we can put out there as a receiving core and expect a Super Bowl. It was a tough season, a lot of close games all the way through the season, kind of outside the Bucks and the Cardinals and the Niners. Outside of those 3 games, a lot of close games, even with the Broncos. And like I kept talking about last year, situationally, who do you go to if they're doubling Kelce? Who can you count on that's going to get open quickly,
Right.
if not a McKinnon out of the backfield who remains unsigned right now? Hopefully the Chiefs can bring him back, work out something. But that's why I think we need to kind of get that more juice in the receiving core. And that's why I want to trade for DeAndre Hopkins, maybe even an Odell Beckham. I'm a little less on that, especially if he wants the big money that he's talking about, 15, 20 million. No, but if his number comes way down, then maybe I'd consider it if you can't work out a trade for DeAndre.
For the Chiefs, I think a lot of it is going to come with what the Chiefs have now. They're
Oh.
going to look at the development of guys like Kadarius Toney. They hope that he can. I remember some reports coming out saying they may look at him as a number one guy. So they're going to look at him to develop and hopefully stay healthy and be that guy that we will see in spurts with certain plays. Sky Moore, they're hoping for his development. Like, people forget that the Chiefs, I believe, had like a top 5 youngest team in the NFL. And those receivers, you have Justin Ross is another guy that, you know, they've been helping to rehab to get better to see.
John Ross.
John Ross.
No,
So,
I'm kidding.
We got Justin and
both of
John.
them, I was
Justin from
kidding.
Clemson, John Ross, the speedster.
I was kidding about John, but yes, Justin.
So they're hoping that, you know, from within that they can get some guys step up, and then of course try to bring back Juju or whatever piece that they can go and get. Then you got, you know, Jody Fortson, who they just tendered today, another guy who helps in the passing game. Noah Gray has developed every year. Like, this is Andy Reid, this is Brett Veach. They have a plan, and Noah, Clint, everybody out there, there's no need to question it, because all they do is win Super Bowls. And until they don't make it to the playoffs, I'm going to keep believing whatever they put on the field.
The Chiefs will get I think Juju Smith-Schuster's he's going to price himself. He's going to get the most money as a free agent, in my opinion. I really believe that, because like Brian said, there's no Kirk out there. There's no big names unless you trade for him. And I really believe the Chiefs will trade a 4th-round draft pick for DeAndre Hopkins.
Ooh. Oh, please.
I hope so.
I love it.
I feel that, because I think that will happen maybe a week before the draft, or maybe a few days before the draft, because you know how those trades went down. A.J. Brown was traded on draft the first night of draft night last year. But I think DeAndre Hopkins knows that it's going to happen. And I know what James Palmer said last week on NFL Network. He said the Chiefs believe that Kadarius Toney is going to be their number 1 wide receiver. And with James Palmer saying that, Lance Twidwell of The Spoken believes that the Chiefs brass is just feeding that to James Palmer to lower DeAndre Hopkins, to lower the market for him. So I honestly believe I listened to that and I thought about it for a second, and I can see that. But honestly, if I love Kadarius Toney. I don't have his jersey hanging here for no reason. I believe in the kid, and I believe he's going to be a weapon, even if he only plays in 11 of the 17 regular season games next year. But I think bringing into DeAndre Hopkins for a 4th-round draft pick makes the most sense. You won't see Brett Veach trade us. Everybody's saying, "Oh, you need to give up a second. You need to give up a second for DeAndre Hopkins." Brett Veach will not trade for a 2nd-round draft pick that's going to be 31 next year. He'll give into a 4th, because once Juju leaves and takes his money, which will probably be the Giants, DeAndre Hopkins would make the most sense. And I look for that to happen about a week before the draft. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'm all for D-Hop. Even in, you know, they were saying a 2nd-round pick, or like earlier, like it was like what, a couple of
weeks ago. 2nd-round pick, Sky Moore.
I saw that floating around. I was like, I was down for it then. 4th-round pick. Now you're really talking my language. And the reason I love D-Hop so much is the vet. He not only his veteran presence, but his hands, his playmaking ability to get open. But look, man, this is backstory too. If you watch during the season, the Cardinals Hard Knocks, his mother is blind.
Yep.
And it's a long story. Go watch the Cardinals on your HBO Max. It's really worth it, man. But his backstory with his mother and what he's made of, and his hands, he has some of the best hands in the league. DeAndre Hopkins, man. He can really thrive in this offense if he takes over that Juju Smith-Schuster role. Can you imagine D-Hop routing people up in the middle of the field? Are you kidding me? D-Hop and Kelsey within the same offense. And I'm anti-OBJ because I think, 1, he's still hurt.
Yeah.
2, he costs too much. He's fine China.
Yeah, the money he wants is insane. I would never give him that.
Never. What are we talking? Fam, you shouldn't have put all your money in crypto. You shouldn't have got your contract, part of your contract in crypto. So no, I'm not. Plus, no, No OBJ for me. Give me D-Hop all day, though.
So with Jacoby Meyer receiving that 3-year, $33 million deal
That's cute.
with the Raiders, so $11 million a year, do you guys think Juju is going to get over about the same? Like if you guys were the Chiefs, are you paying Juju $10 million a year?
Not if I can get D-Hop.
No, yeah, if you can get D-Hop, I think that's the first option. But I think the fallback plan, if Juju sees like, damn, nobody's paying me over, this price that the Raiders paid for my fault, the Las Vegas Patriots paid for Jacoby Meyer, would Juju settle for $9-10 million with the Chiefs for like 2 or 3 years? I'm thinking that he would, especially knowing that I'm going to get touches. I'm going to have a chance to win another Super Bowl. But yeah, if you can get D-Hop, that has to be the move. The guy came on after missing 6 games last year. I don't know who the quarterback was, and he almost caught 800 yards within those games. So D-Hop is special. If you got a chance to get him at all, you have to make that move, especially for Shane's 4th round pick.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think Brian just wants us to get D-Hop so I can shut up about the receiver position for a year.
That would make me do it. Yeah, let's do it.
I want to win Super Bowl 58.
Yeah.
In Vegas.
You're telling me we can do it with Juju and Justin Watson. We got 15. It's fine. Why do you want D-Hop?
Hey, Juju's only 26 years old. I know it feels like he's been in the league since Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning were drafted in 2004, but Juju Smith-Schuster's only 26. It's insane. It just feels like he's been around forever.
Look, I said Juice. Juju's a great inside presence and who can catch the ball and get hit by a linebacker, but take on a safety or whatever. But man, D-Hop adds another level to the offense. He provides to me a twitch that Juju doesn't. If that makes sense on the inside. I think he refers to the juice. He's the juice that I'm referring to.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. That's all I've wanted. I wanted it all last season. I didn't get it, and hopefully we get it this offseason, but I fear it's just going to be Juju again. Not that I have a big problem with Juju, but like Brian said, I just want that juice. I want that stud. I want the guy that we know we can rely on and go to in crunch time. If they're going to focus on Kelsey, we got D-Hop. If they're going to focus on D-Hop, we got Kelsey. That gives Mahomes 2 options to kind of key in on. So that's something I really want. I'm looking forward to.
Great comment by Night Hunter. I hope I said your name right.
Yeah.
Let's look at, and I know this was when he was in his top of his prime, but look at the quarterbacks he's played with.
Brian Hoyer.
Are you kidding me? He took those guys to the playoffs. Are we serious? And he had Deshaun Watson, and he was considered one of the 2-3 best receivers in the league. Yeah. Kyler Murray. Look, imagine what he would do with Mahomes. I think like I didn't see any slacking DeAndre Hopkins game as far as his hands and route running ability. Did you see what he was doing against Charvarius Ward?
Yeah. Going crazy.
Guys, going crazy. Monday Night Football.
I think we spoiled, man. I think Tyreek got us spoiled because for years we didn't have that guy. I guess if you looked at Debo as that guy, you were like, okay, the Chiefs have a guy, but we didn't expect Tyreek to become what he became. So it just had us so spoiled. And even for, a guy like myself, I'm like, it's no way Tyreek or Kelsey, they're going to retire Chiefs because you have Patrick Mahomes, and the fact that he left really shell-shocked us. But man, I trust whatever they put out on the field. I think the young guys are going to develop. I think the right moves are going to be made. And it's 15. Me and Brian can get out there as long as we can get open enough. He gonna put that thing on us, and we gonna make some plays.
Dog.
My brain is 5'2" out there. It's 5'2", 40, baby.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll see what happens when it comes to the wide receiver position. We're big
hook
fans
and
of
curl routes only for me, Clint.
I mean, hey, yeah, well,
maybe a wheel route.
That beats what I can do these days. Let's see what the Chiefs have already done here yesterday, guys, as the Kansas City Chiefs made a big move at tackle. That they are out on Orlando Brown going forward. Juwan Taylor signs for 4 years, $80 million, $60 million guaranteed. I love this move. I hate offensive linemen, and yet I'm all on board with what the Chiefs have done in this case. Orlando Brown, the league thinks that he's maybe more of a right tackle, and that's why maybe he hasn't been signed for exorbitant costs, not $120 million like we thought.
Yeah, he's going to be on NFL Live tomorrow, and they're going to talk about that because Adam Schefter broke that.
4-year starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars since day one. He hasn't missed a game. He's reliable. He's athletic. And I think now is his time. He's coming into his prime for Veach to kind of get out in front of this and find perhaps the left tackle of the future. I loved this move.
I love the move because of the fact that it puts even more pressure on Orlando Brown. Now, people might be thinking he's gone. They've swept him away. If you look at the Orlando Brown situation from a national perspective, you don't see Joe Thomas. You don't see these Willie Rowe or these old other offensive linemen coming out, standing up for Orlando Brown, saying, "Oh man, he's one of the best left tackles." When you hear Tim Grunhard on 810 WHB, Tim Grunhard will say, "Yeah, he's probably the 5th best left tackle in the National Football League." But Orlando Brown, what he's betting on and what has hurt him so far is that he gambled on the market, paying him top left tackle money. He thought, well, I'm the best left tackle. I'm going to get this money. Well, he hired an inexperienced agent who has no history of representing of any professional athlete ever.
I'm doing the best I can, Shane. I'm working with Orlando. I'm out of my comfort zone here.
So what I think this move by the Chiefs did by bringing in this guy, it puts more pressure on Orlando, because now the day after the Chiefs signed this Taylor from Jacksonville, the NFL's like saying, well, Orlando Brown's really a right tackle. That his cost is going down. I feel bad for him that he's going to be on TV tomorrow, because you don't want to see anybody look bad. But I think as each day passes, I know we're still 6 weeks and 2 days from the draft, his price is going to go down. He's not going to get probably a better offer than the Chiefs. And I honestly believe if he's sitting there in 2 weeks and all he hears is crickets when he looks at his cell phone, he may end up taking the Chiefs offer at left tackle, and they may keep this guy right tackle. So I'm not saying that I'm not closing the door yet on Orlando Brown Jr. just yet. I'm just saying this is the ultimate poker face, so to speak. What do you think, Michael?
No, I think that Taylor, he's a very athletic guy. If you look at some of the tape with Jacksonville, what they were able to do on his side, he isn't the greatest run blocker, which people are.
Oh, we're good there.
Yeah, but
don't run the ball much; it works out.
Yeah, Andy Reid will scheme up some stuff to help. With that. But they talk about the big switch for him going from right tackle to left tackle. If that's the move, is that you don't get as much help as a left tackle, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Like the guy, as long as the O-line isn't like terrible and only has a week or 2 weeks to prepare, if they have a whole offseason, I think that you can put together, the best that you can at the tackle position, because how great the guys are in the middle with Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Joe Tooney. But I think that Taylor is a good prospect, that if he is going to make that move to left tackle, which Orlando Brown made the move and he was perfectly fine, I think that he's going to be okay. But the Chiefs are going to be looking, can we get Orlando? I hear they're still looking at Tunsil over there, even though that's going to be really tough. But they have.
Oh, Brian, shake your head the other way. You're doing it wrong. You're saying yes, no.
Hell yes.
Hell no.
Lucas is the guy.
I'll get to that.
Lucas is the guy that everybody's like, can he finally stay healthy and put that big body to use? So maybe he can be healthy and be that.
You got Darian Kennard as well. So
yeah, it's Kennard as well, who from Kentucky, who everybody liked in last year's draft. So the Chiefs have options, and that's exactly what you want to have. So they're going to see the market for Orlando. If they can't make that happen, I don't think that Taylor is going to be a bad left tackle.
Brian, you want to do something ridiculous, I guess?
So hear me out. All right. First off, I believe that I know I can't have my cake and eat it too. So this is considering us not getting DeAndre Hopkins. With that being said,
I'm definitely out.
I don't want to trade a first round pick this year, but maybe something next year to the Texans for Laramie Tunsil. Hell yes. Top 2 best left tackles in the game. You put Taylor at right tackle, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney. This offensive line would be better than the 2003 offensive line. I will put my money on that.
What is
If you were
this?
to
The
get
Silicon
Laramie
Valley?
Tunsil.
Do we just have unlimited? Is there a money
Agreed,
tree?
it would be better than
is there no
2003, by the way.
Is there
this
no
is why we
salary
got-
cap
we got-
anymore?
We got beats, man. It's not F them picks. We got plenty picks to play with.
80 million for
Look,
Tooney, 80 million
Beach-
for Taylor, 100
Hey,
plus
man,
million for Tunsil. No,
Beats can work
no.
it out, man. Beats can work it out, baby. And we for sure going wide receivers, heavy wide receiver in the draft if this were to happen.
Okay,
I understand.
well, maybe I'm
Look,
back in.
I understand the
He's
critics.
not good at picking them.
I understand the. Come on, man. Come on, man. 2 Super Bowls, fam. Come on now. What?
I just said he's not good at picking receivers. That's true. You can say we win despite that.
No. Anyway, we just discussed that. I'm
Like
not
Cornell
going
Powell. Try him on for
anyway.
size.
Look, I'm just thinking. I understand the critics of this move, so I get it. But just think about. Just want to give you something to think about. Put it on your mind. One of the best offensive lines ever assembled in the history of the league. We talk
Not
about.
interested.
If you were to get learned, I'm saying this, it will be that could be the ceiling. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be.
I don't
that
want
could
the
be
best offensive
ceiling.
line.
I'm just saying, man, why not? You can do what you want.
Ryan,
with that. What
I
are you
know,
talking about?
I know. Kansas City conditioned you for the first 30 years of your life that you've got to go out and draft a tackle. You got to get Victor
Yes,
Riley. You got to
yes,
get John Tate.
that's
You've got to
football.
go out and you got to draft Eric
Football.
Fisher, number 1
You gotta
overall.
Protect
They-
your best asset.
The
Patrick
game
Mahomes.
has changed.
Hell
That is
yeah.
not. The pressure doesn't even come from the edge as much anymore as it comes from right up the middle. The best players, Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, they're getting pressure up the middle. Your blind side.
Yes.
This isn't Joe Theismann standing back there getting hit from the back end by
Oh,
Lawrence Taylor.
a word,
This is not
a word.
1992, man.
I'm glad you brought that up, sir. Because let's go back to the divisional game against the Jaguars. And guess why Patrick Mahomes got a sprained ankle? Because of your left tackle. That's why.
Well, you guys wanted to do that.
Wanted to give $100 million to.
Yeah, you guys wanted to do that after Super Bowl 55. We have to just knee-jerk reaction. Just Orlando Brown, Joe Tooney, $80 million. Anything? Anyone?
So
That's
you're
why.
telling-
Who are the best 5 offensive tackles in the NFL? I don't
It's
know,
not
and I
very-
don't
that's
care.
That's why this is complicated. Because
Exactly.
I tell you, the 2 best win the Super Bowl. I tell you that. 2 of the best win the Super Bowl. 2 of the top 5 at least.
Yeah, maybe. I might give you that.
Trent Williams.
Tim Grunhard said he's maybe the 5th, the Orlando Brown. So
Yeah.
Oh, I said 5. He's 5.
Shane, I want you to take this wherever you want to
Yes,
go with
please.
it. But I also want you to touch on Brian saying that if we did get Tunsil, this line would be better than 2003 because I disagree.
I think I don't know enough. I haven't done enough due diligence on Laramie Tunsil per se, other than he is one of the best left tackles. If we do go that way, then I'm anxious to see how it will unfold. I hope we don't have to give up a first round draft pick. But Laramie Tunsil did the Houston tweet today of this. I guess it means Houston.
he was doing the metal sign. Come on, he's a
Yeah.
fan of Iron Maiden.
Yeah, he's happy about the Kiss farewell tour. No, but I didn't know what he was talking about. But everybody said that's the Houston.
Warrens.
Yeah,
H-Town.
So yeah, thank you, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. You good?
not
I
very
got you.
hip.
I got you, baby. I got you. That's what I'm here for.
But what we also and I'm not trying to segue away from that, Noah, because I'm going to trust what we do. I don't think we're going to get Tunsil, so I'm going to put that way on the back burner. What we need to think about now is what's going to happen. Chris Jones is going to get his massive extension, and what that's going to do, Veach is going to know eventually who is he going to pay next year? Is he going to pay Snead, Bolton, or Willie Gay? So I don't be surprised in the next 6 weeks. This could happen, guys. We're 6 weeks and 2 days from the draft. Chris Jones gets his extension. L'Jarius Sneed gets traded for a second round draft pick.
Yeah.
Because we got Joshua Williams here. He came in and
I get it.
we got the guys. And if the Brett Veach is going to balance this cap,
Need
we have to-
more rookie corners. Yep.
yeah. We have to accept the fact, okay, how do I balance it? Chris Jones just got this massive extension. Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, L'Jarius Sneed, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, all these guys are going to need it in the year after. How do you balance it? How do you replace it with? I'm just saying, don't be surprised if L'Jarius Sneed is traded within the next 6 weeks. Do I want him traded? No, I love L'Jarius Sneed. He's great, but I'm just saying Veach has got to think long term, and Bolton and Willie Gay are going to want to get paid next year.
I
And
do
that's
want Snead gone before you go, Mike Hill, just real quick. I do want Snead gone. I like the player. I don't want him gone because of I don't like the player he is. I do, but I don't want to pay him and I don't want to lose him for nothing. So I think you have to trade him. Go ahead, Mike Hill.
Yeah, and that's why I think that the Chiefs can't go out and pay a crazy contract to Orlando or trade it for Tunsil because they understand, like, man, we don't have all the money that, we got to pay Chris Jones. So I think that, this might be the O-line that we have, and it's going to be a battle between Kennard and Niang for the right tackle.
Maybe a rookie.
Yeah, and then any rookie that they are Prince. They also tendered Prince, who may also get an opportunity. So I believe that Taylor is going to be the left tackle. It's the right tackle spot that we're going to have to figure out who's going to be that guy because they don't have the money to pay everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've been talking a lot about Brett Veach as GM, but MVS has thrown his hat in the ring trying to be a GM too. Woo! I want you for my Kansas City teammate. He's made a lot of tweets out here. He wanted Alan Lazard. Obviously, that didn't happen. 4 years, $44 million to the Jets, as Aaron Rodgers will probably announce on the Pat McAfee show tomorrow that he is also joining the New York Jets. MVS wants Robert Tonyan, the tight end from the Packers, to come here, and also big play Slay from the Eagles. We just beat him in the Super Bowl, and he says, "I know we're not the best of friends right now after that last game, but I think the number 2 is open in KC." So he's putting his GM hat on. I actually don't like the moves that he's trying to get former teammates, somebody he played against in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to leave this to Brett Veach. I'm hard on Brett Veach about the receivers, but he is the best GM in football. I do agree with Shane. I am so hyper-focused on the receivers that I'm too hard on Brett Veach. I've admitted that. I've eaten crow over that. But I don't like MVS as GM here. Anybody else?
Nah.
Boo!
No, I'm not. I'm good.
Yeah.
I told him that. I replied. I said, we got Joshua Williams. We don't need to spend all that money for Slay.
Yeah.
MVS, get us Christian Watson.
If they can make that happen, maybe.
Right.
Does he have any connection to DeAndre Hopkins, perchance?
Man, I feel so sorry for the Green Bay Packer fan base. But
I like this though from
You
MVS.
feel sorry for them?
man,
Well,
go ahead, Mike.
No.
Cut you.
I'm sorry. I'll get to
We'll
that.
get to
in a
that.
second. My bad, Michael.
No, I like this from MVS, man. He's just showing that, hey, I'm trying to go out here and recruit. Y'all saw what I did. I came and joined this team, won the Super Bowl. Do you want to do the same? So it's good to have a guy who's going to be on social media because as you know, as you see, these guys are all over social media. So to have a guy that's out here trying to say, hey, come join us, I think it's pretty dope that MVS is doing that because somebody might bite. D-Hop, might be like, yo, let me tweet back to him and say something. So MVS, keep doing what you're doing. I might send him a list of guys I want him to tweet so we can try to make something happen.
We love our guys on social media, whether it's MVS or in the past, her and Matthew and Anthony Hitchens. We love the guys out there tweeting on Instagram, commenting back to Chiefs fans. We love it. Keep it up, guys. Yep. But we also got to talk about this big trade, Brian, before you get into your Packers. I'll connect with the NFC North and something the Bears did. Then we'll get into the Packers. But the Bears traded the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers, who apparently now they want to trade it away. I don't know what they're doing. They don't have a quarterback picked out, but they traded it. They gave the number 9 pick 61, a first round in 2024, a second round in 2025, and their star receiver, DJ Moore, to the Bears and the Panthers. I have Bryce Young here, but apparently they don't. Between CJ Stroud, they like Anthony Richardson. They might trade back. What are they doing?
I'm confused.
I got nothing.
I love that response. That's my favorite response ever on this show.
I'm like, you trade up. I'm thinking that you have a guy that you're in love with, but then you start to hear that they want to get more. I'm like, this is crazy. And then you trade your best receiver who was balling out with bums at quarterback. Now you're going to draft a young guy and have no receivers. So I really don't know what the Panthers are doing. Shout out to the Bears. I think that, adding what they were able to add, getting DJ Moore to help out Justin Fields. Like, I love what the Bears are doing. There's going to be no Aaron Rodgers there. The Vikings are up and down. The Detroit Lions are the Detroit Lions. So this is the perfect time for a team in the NFC North to try to make a run. So I'm curious to see, exactly what the Bears are going to do.
Brian, go ahead with your Packers take.
Oh, well, first off, I think that the Panthers are the Panthers are the dumbest team in the league for that. This is absolutely insane. They did it a year or two early. You do that next year for Caleb Williams, not for these guys this year. But whatevs. You find a quarterback, you fall in love with him at the combine, I bet. But I don't feel sorry for Packers fans because they've had a franchise quarterback for 30 straight years. Excuse me. They've had they went straight from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. They go to hell. Okay. I don't care. They're like, look at who can we look at? The Browns, like
the Lions.
Like, come on, man. Look at the fertility of these teams, some of these teams during the span of them having Brett Favre and then going to Aaron Rodgers. And then don't let Jordan Love be the hype. Don't let him be good. Then we talking about like 45 straight years of them having him. And then like Barstar, they had him for what? How many years? Come on, man. I think you can't feel sorry for them.
Brian, to echo your sentiments, with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre as their starting quarterback, the last 31 years, they're 2-1 in Super Bowl play. And in our last 4 years, we're 2-1 with Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl play. So.
Yeah. They don't have an owner. That's why they don't have somebody to be in control. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have an owner. It's a bunch of guys who wake up and chill in front of their house and kick back and, not really do too much. So, but I think the Packers going to be all right. You hear a lot of Packer fans talk about Jordan Love. They're trying to put together some pieces. That division is terrible, so it always gives you a chance. If Jordan Love can be that guy, you have Dobbs, you have Watson, Dylan Jones. They can maybe figure something out. But I really like what the Bears are doing, man. I think the Bears, if Fields is that guy, being able to throw the ball, I think that they have a chance to run away with that division for the next few years if he's that guy. But we're going to find out soon.
Yeah, and go ahead, Brian.
I was going to shout out Kevin Capel. I hope I said your name right in the comments. He might be right about the Browns being the dumbest team in the league and not the Panthers.
I like the Browns.
It's neck and neck.
Is try and try and try and try. And I give them credit for that. They go first round pick at quarterback. They always pick the wrong ones. They fail. They've hitched their wagons to Deshaun Watson, gave him too much guaranteed money, the whole contract, $230 million. And they always miss, but they try, and I respect it. I respect them more than the earlier Chiefs are going Bono and Gerback and Heward and Castle and Alex Smith. At least they put their money where their mouth is. They're going out there. They're trying to create a Super Bowl team. They've never done it. They probably never will, but they try, and I respect them.
And the Browns have successfully sabotaged the entire organization of the Baltimore Ravens.
The Browns have to really hate the Chiefs because they've drafted just a million quarterbacks, first-round quarterbacks, and they try and fail. And the Chiefs do it one time ever. Yeah. Just Patrick Mahomes. Oh, the best one ever. Sorry, Browns. Like, just go.
Deshaun is finally going to get a full off season. He's going to get a full season. We're going to see what he's able to do.
He didn't look the same, dog. He didn't.
Oh, yeah,
he didn't.
It's tough to come back and get right to it. So now he's able to get that under his feet, have the entire off season. I think Deshaun's going to be all right, and the Browns are going to be all right.
Yes, I respect the Browns for failing, not really for failing, for trying over and over again. They're not just going to say, just Case Keenum, I guess, for 3 years. Like, no, they're just going to go after it with drafting all these quarterbacks, Brady Quinn, Baker Mayfield. Now they're hitching their wagons to Deshaun Watson. They're trying. I respect the trying, rather than the Chiefs with the Bonos and Gerbacks and Big Pens.
Well, looking at free agency, who do you like to come in to take place for Frank Clark? Because we're going to need that veteran presence. I know some.
Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How many years would you give him?
He's going to be pricey, though.
You think? Well, okay. He chased the money last year. The Chiefs were in on him, of course, last year. He chased the money to Minnesota, decided, wait, this sucks. I want to win. Where could I do that? Hello, Patrick Mahomes. James Palmer has said that Patrick Mahomes, his phone's blowing up. All the free agents want to come here. We know you can't realistically go out and sign them all, but Zadarius is an interesting one. You lose Frank Clark, and I just, like we've talked about before, I have the biggest soft spot for Frank Clark. I love him. He reminds me of just like having a professional wrestler on your team. He cuts promos. He says things. He has feelings. I love him, but Za'Darius, I don't know. We'll see. Would you do a
Turns
3-year
31
deal?
in September.
3-year deal?
2
2-year
years.
deal?
Two,
I think
probably.
2 years.
Okay.
I mean, I would love that if he could fit under the cap. And
Calais
you know
Campbell?
what? Oh, don't.
I've wanted him for
hey,
like
talk dirty.
12 years.
Look, can you imagine Calais Campbell teaming up with Chris Jones? Like, you don't even have to play every damn, fam. We don't even need you every damn. We need you on those third loans.
When we re-signed Turk Wharton to a 1-year deal, he can come in, spell Campbell or Jones.
Man,
And then
so many options.
Could Frank Clark possibly be a Jerick McKinnon situation to where the Chiefs just kind of wait it out, see what happens? And
I think he's gonna cost too much.
But you think somebody's gonna pay him? They're gonna pay him well? Because I know the playoffs he shines, but some teams don't even make the playoffs. So they like, we need you to ball in the regular season first. And he doesn't really, perform to that, to the level that we all expected until.
Well, I can't help you there, but
it's so many of those situations too, with like it kind of like lingering.
Yeah,
like, we talked about earlier with Orlando Brown.
Yep.
It's kind of like lingering a little bit. Like it could go either way. We don't know. And it's kind of weird this offseason to me, that kind of thing with the Chiefs. But I think that's what comes with winning. Mm-hmm. And guys are willing to all right, bet Juju's another one who's just kind of like lingering a little bit. And it's like guys are like, I guess guys need to humble themselves, or they just really don't know where they stand in the NFL as far as like, you got to dangle yourself a little bit to kind of, get a realistic price on where you're at. And I know a lot of guys like, they're like, look, if I go to the Chiefs, I know there's not a lot of pressure. They're playing with house money, and I got Patrick Mahomes. That's a hell of a selling card that the Chiefs have that nobody has but us.
A lot of people mentioning Justin Houston here. Shane, do you want to take that?
If the price is right and it happens, I think that's somebody you sign, just before you go into training camp in St. Joe. But specifically right now, after the Chiefs signed Taylor Jacksonville, when I looked at the chart today, the Chiefs had the 4th less room for salary cap. So what needs to happen is, and what I think will happen is once Chris Jones signs his extension, they'll be able to prorate that over many years and work with a signing bonus, which will open things up more for specific moves to a free agent defensive end or a free agent wide receiver per se. So I think once that Chris Jones is the next big step. Once they take care of that, then they'll be able to work around it, possibly trading a Nick Bolton or a L'Jarius Sneed or what have you, and like I said, I don't want Nick Bolton traded. I don't want L'Jarius Sneed traded. I'm just saying once Chris Jones is taken care of, the dominoes will begin to fall for Brett Veach because he can do so much with the salary cap after that. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The draft's in Kansas City, guys. It's coming up in 6-7 weeks.
60 days.
The dominoes are kind of already following. I like the Taylor move. I like what's going on so far. And I don't think that the Chiefs are in any hurry to go out and guys, free agency, let's face it. When you're the Chiefs and you're the gold standard of the NFL, I'll tell you what, March, it's like it's for Nebraska football. Okay. By that, I mean, in college football, Nebraska gets to have a spring game. 80,000 people show up and they get to talk about how great they're going to be next year. Yeah. March is for the Chicago Bears. It's for the Las Vegas Raiders. Right. It's for the Denver Broncos. That's where March is really for, guys. The Chiefs, they get to have their glory from September to February. That's when it happens for us. I don't expect, a lot of big things. This D-Hop thing, we'll see. I would love that. I think there's going to be some things happen. The Chiefs aren't going to remain steadfast and do nothing. Right. But I think March is for these other teams. And let's get around to a few of them here as we're kind of heading towards the back half.
Yes, let's go. There's time to roast these bastards.
There's one. Darren Waller to the Giants. Allegedly, I guess they kind of traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller. I don't necessarily see it that way, but they can have their 30-year-old tight end that's supposedly better than Travis Kelce, which is not the case. And the Giants, he goes to, the land of the lost, and we never will have to hear about Darren Waller again.
Yeah, and then we've got the Raiders making another move. They've let go of Derek Carr. They're bringing in Jimmy G, just as I predicted. I don't know. I don't think any of my others. I also predicted Gardner Minshew to the Jets. So I don't know how much I can puff my chest out here, but I did call Derek Carr to the Saints, Jimmy G to the Raiders. And there is a shot of the Broncos' new tackle, probably right tackle, Mike McGlinchey there is getting thrown around by Micah Parsons. That's who they gave all their money to there in Denver. Congratulations there. And I don't know if Devontae Adams is a big fan of Jimmy G. On Instagram, he said, if we haven't talked in the last 3 weeks, don't hit me about this shit. Thanks. That was right after Jimmy G was signed. And, of course, you've got Boy George there. Do you really want to hurt me? So Jimmy G's feelings already hurt, and he's probably hasn't even landed in Las Vegas yet.
Golly. I can't believe he would say that.
It could have been about something else, but I like to say it's about Jimmy G. So.
It was about Jimmy G. He clarified today and said he was tired of people hitting him up that haven't texted him since the offseason. And now all of a sudden you're blowing my phone up about this new quarterback. I don't want to talk about this.
Sure.
Well, Brian, as you've said on TikTok, I'm going to keep referencing it because it's the best crap out there.
I appreciate
love
it,
it,
man.
The
At Brian
Raiders
signing on TikTok, baby.
You want more clown show? The Raiders are your jam. Go to Las Vegas, pay $10,000 for a seat license, and go watch the Las Vegas Raiders go 8-9 for the rest of our natural-born lives, and I love it.
I'm not impressed with any of these moves. I just want to say that it's
kind of like Samaje Perine. It doesn't matter because they're not going to win anything, but I like him as a running back. It's sort of a good move.
It is time to pay the piper, okay? The Chiefs have been playing this game of, damn, we got to pay our quarterback, so now, we got to divvy off the rest. Oh, it's coming for you, Bengals. It's coming for you, Chargers, and it's definitely here for Denver. And you can see the dismantling of the teams. Let's go to Los Angeles real quick. The guy who scored, 26 touchdowns or something like that?
Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler. Peace out. He wants to get paid. And I don't blame him. He's not going to have another season like that. And if you use Austin Eckler right, as much as I despise him, he's really one of the players who I hate in the league right now. That's for other reasons that I might discuss on that TikTok. But look, he can be dangerous though. I think he is what the Chiefs hope Clyde Edwards-Helaire would have been. A guy really out of the backfield catching passes who can get it done in between the tackles too. Fast guy, hard to take down, blase. But anyway, with all that being said, he's leaving. Keenan Allen, we don't know what he's going to do. Mike Williams eating up a lot of that cap room. So you're beginning to see the dismantling of these teams. You look at the Bengals. I know they're not in the AFC West, but they're our biggest rival right now going in this league.
Yes.
You see Jesse Bates. He up out of there, going to Atlanta. Yep. You see Von Bell. He's up out of there. And they're going to have to pay Joe Burrow this year.
Yeah. All of these teams, man, it seems like they're just taking a step back. Like this past season was their year to attack the Chiefs because other than the Dolphins look nice. If their quarterback situation with Tua can be well, they have a chance to be special. Because they were special last year and they would have had a chance if Tua was available. But
winter wasn't a season.
Dolphins just want to be on Instagram.
The Chiefs they look so cute. Far ahead as an organization. When you have Andy Reid, when you have 15, you just have such an advantage. And a lot of teams are in panic mode because they're like, if that was their retool season, what do we do now? As they try, they can do even more things. So I just think teams are trying to figure out whatever plan that they can try to beat these Chiefs because they're looking at the situation like the Patriots of the 2000s where, like, if we don't try to get this right, they can win, 5 to 7 Super Bowls, and we can't allow that to happen. So teams are kind of just trying to figure it out when it comes to their cap space when they have these star quarterbacks. The Chargers actually restructured 3 of their guys, Keenan Allen being one of them, so they were able to save like
Mack and Bosa.
Yeah, on the cap. So they're trying to do some things, but everybody is chasing the Chiefs. So whatever you see, I can just see everybody in their office and it's on fire and they're just doing whatever they can to put the fire out. And that fire is the Kansas City Chiefs, baby.
The NFC side, we had a comment here from Leah Curtis that I want to get back to. Stephon Gilmore, somebody I wanted last offseason, traded to Dallas for a 5th-round pick. How did they pull that off? He's old. The Colts are definitely kind of rebuilding, retooling. They're not going to be winning anything with whatever he is now, 33, 34-year-old Stephon Gilmore. So he goes to Dallas. I'd say that would help Dallas. It does give them a little more solid player as their number 2 corner, but to go along with Trevon Diggs. But they still have Dak. And so I can't take Dak seriously as a quarterback that's going to win anything. So enjoy that, America's team. I told you to get rid of him and go with Teddy Bridgewater as a stopgap until you find a real quarterback.
Guys, do you realize let's talk about the Colts just right quick. Matt Ryan gets released just about an hour before we went live here on social media. Guys, the Indianapolis Colts, I've loved this for so many years now. You go from Jacoby Brissett, you go to Phillip Rivers, you go to Carson Wentz, you go to Matt Ryan. Where do we go next? I think the Colts should be strapped with washed-up veterans for the next 20 years because of the kiss on the cheek they got with Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. We're going to go – who can we – I want a Derek Carr for
Baker Mayfield.
There you go. Well, yeah.
Bryce Young.
They about to draft somebody, man. Jim Irsay is going to he's going to be on that knuckle, as they would call it on 39th Street. He'll get on a knuckle and he'll get a pint of some Johnny Black and he'll end up calling the shots. Look, he's going to be here in Kansas City, so he can go to 39th Street. We know somebody right around the corner for my mans to get him all hooked up for what he needs to do, because he'll jump on stage and make the damn pick himself of the quarterback in the draft. He's going to walk from 39th Street all the way to Crown Center to Liberty Memorial, and then he's going to walk through the crowd on his. He got Johnny Walker, and he's just walking with his knuckle.
He'd probably do it.
The crowd, the Union Station, jumps on the stage, takes the microphone from Roger Goodell. The Indianapolis Colts are like Bryce Young. Drops the mic.
That could happen. That could happen.
39th Street.
He gets pretty lit.
Yeah, I mean, guys, when we're talking about the quarterbacks here, I gave my predictions back before the Jaguars playoff game. Like I mentioned, I got 2 right. You're going to hear Gardner Minshew in this clip, so disregard that. Don't pay attention to that. I didn't make that. Somebody that was edited by someone else after I got this clip. So that wasn't me, but these others, we'll see how true they come. Here it is. So I've got Bryce Young going to the Texans, CJ Stroud from Ohio State going to the Colts, Lamar Jackson in the ATL.
Yeah.
And the Raiders do get a former Patriots quarterback, but it's Jimmy Garoppolo going to Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. Will Levis to the Panthers. The Jets miss out. They still are talking about, hey, we kind of like Zach Wilson. We're going to see how this thing goes. I think they miss out on a real quarterback and have to go with Gardner Minshew. And we got Zach Wilson. They're going to kind of have a quarterback battle here. Hendon Hooker from Tennessee goes to the Commanders. The Ravens fill their spot with Florida Gators quarterback Anthony Richardson, kind of a dual threat like a Lamar Jackson. And then Derek Carr reunites with Dennis Allen, the coach that was with the Raiders when he was drafted to the Raiders, and he goes to New Orleans. So I got 2 right there. Again, I don't know who that was predicting Gardner Minshew to the Jets. It wasn't me. I know it sounded like me, but trust me, it wasn't. And I might get Bryce Young to the Texans if the Panthers like CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson to go there. The Texans, Bryce.
Maybe Levis. They might like Levis, like you said.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get some wrong here. I don't see.
Can you imagine Will Levis going number 1 overall? I cannot, but I can't imagine it being Anthony Richardson either. So
Ryan Leaf really likes Will Levis, so that tells me not to draft Will Levis.
Hey, far away.
Fair enough.
You ask him first. Hey, Ryan, who do you like? And say, yeah, don't draft that guy.
It's an interesting group. It's
like
going to be interesting.
Clinton who he likes at guard in the draft.
Oh, sorry. Guys, well, we've done our free agent freakout frenzy. We've talked about some moves that other teams have done. We've talked about moves the Chiefs have done. There's more to come. The NFL league year starts now. This is incredible. The Chiefs are going to ride their wave of momentum, but we got to have fun. We got to do before our parting shot here, as looking back for all of us and our memories of being Chiefs fans and some of the moves, the draft picks or the acquisitions via free agency that we all were fans of. We're going to do our top 5. We're going to have fun with it. And I want to hear some of your guys in the comments too. players that you were excited about when the Chiefs either drafted or acquired via free agency, not like in hindsight, like, oh, wow, Patrick
Initially
Mahomes.
excited about all in on, and then it could have fallen off a cliff and they could have been trash, like some of mine.
Yeah. So let's start with, I don't know, Shane.
Yep. Eric Berry, man, I was stoked when we got him out of Tennessee.
That turned out terrible.
Yeah, well, I was really stoked to get Eric Berry. I saw the highlights and I debated with Nick Athen from Warpaint Illustrated. He said, there's no way they're going to take a safety. And I said, Nick, they got to get after the kid. He's great. And
Thomas went 2 picks after safety out of Texas.
Eric Berry came here and he was phenomenal. He had the cancer. He was the reason why the Chiefs had to buy in 2016. Alex Smith wasn't having a good year, and Eric Berry won 2 games on the road at Carolina and Atlanta. I'll go to bat for Eric Berry every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Todd Blackledge, man, I was stoked when we drafted him. I was in the 8th grade, and I thought, man, John Malkovich is our new head coach. He's going to come here, and by golly, we're going to have the Cowboys offense. It's going to be awesome. We're going to get Tony Dorsett. Joe Delaney is going to be Tony Dorsett's replacement.
What could have been
the Cowboys' new offense? Man, this is going to be phenomenal. And then Joe Delaney died in June.
R.I.P. Joe Delaney, man.
Oh gosh, yes.
Then Joe Delaney died in June, and Todd Blackledge couldn't quite beat out Bill Kenny, even though Todd Blackledge was the starting quarterback the first 2 games of 1984. John Malkovich was so quick to pull Todd Blackledge throughout his first 2 years. In 84 and 85, I felt like John Malkovich, and I speak for Chiefs fans back then as well, felt like you got to grow with him. And John Malkovich didn't want to grow with him. He was impatient. He kept putting in Bill Kenny, who showed some life, but he wasn't Todd Blackledge or a quarterback, quarterback that was the number 1 draft pick like Todd Blackledge. Well, Todd Blackledge was a bust. Ty Law in 2006, man, I thought when we got him, it was all we needed.
I was excited about that one.
Jason Whitlock tried the year before to get everybody to get Ty Law to come to town in 2005, but he didn't make it in 2005. He came in 2006, and I thought he was going to be the difference. He was a veteran presence that I felt solidified Herm Edwards' secondary, and we saw the end of his career. He had some good games. He kept us in that lone wild card game with 2 interceptions of Peyton Manning, but everybody from Tony Gonzalez to Eddie Kennison to Dante Hall were dropping passes, and we couldn't do anything, but Ty Law kept us in the game. 4th is Eddie Payton. Does anybody remember Walter Payton's little brother, Eddie? Well, he was a running back and a kick returner for the Detroit Lions. And when he came to Kansas City in 1978, I was 8 years old, and I thought, my gosh, we got Walter Payton's brother. We got Little Sweetness. Sweetness was Walter. Of course, Little Sweetness was Eddie. But he was just a veteran who came here. I was psyched to have him. He never developed. And Eddie Payton was just he'll be ever known as Walter Payton's little brother that didn't make it. He was never materialized. The Chiefs went on to finish 4-12 with Eddie Payton, so he didn't make much of a difference. In 1987, the Chiefs' first-round draft pick was Paul Palmer out of Temple. The Chiefs just finished the 1986 season in a wild card loss. We were the worst team in rushing in the 1986 season, even though we made a wild card spot. And I felt that Paul Palmer was going to be the decisive, elusive, shifty running back that was going to make the difference in John Malkovich's offense. But John Malkovich got fired, and Paul Palmer came in, and he was decent. He had a 100-yard kickoff return that won the first game of his NFL career in the home opener of 1987. And but he never materialized. Everybody remembers the second-round draft pick, Christian Okoye. But in the long haul of it, those are my top 5 acquisitions. I hope I didn't go on too long and run out of time.
No, Brian, we're going to go to you. But before we do, we had someone say Patrick Mahomes, so I need to make this announcement. We didn't include Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana, Marcus Allen, or like Andy Reid, any coaches, because those were too easy. They would have been on all of our lists. We wanted some differentiation in these lists, so we didn't include those guys. And with that said, Brian, your list.
I wish I could trade. Yeah, Priest Holmes, definitely I was all in on. He was already 1,000-yard back with the Ravens, and he got replaced by Jamal Lewis because Brian Billick came in. So I love Priest Holmes in Baltimore when I saw him the few games that I did back then. I wish I could replace, now that I'm putting more thought into it, I wish I could replace Frank Clark with Glenn Dorsey. When we drafted Glenn Dorsey in 2008,
Yes.
Yeah.
golly, yeah. I said, no way we were able to get him.
And Brandon
Because-
Albert all in the top 15. Yeah.
Right. And that's the Jamal Charles year too.
Yep.
So
Brandon Carr, Brandon
yeah,
Flowers.
yeah, I love that 08 draft. But Patrick Surtain, lot like you, Shane, I was so excited about the cornerbacks in that era for some reason. I just thought that the Chiefs were literally a little piece of a defense away from making it to the Super Bowl. And we got Patrick Surtain with a trade with Miami. I believe it was the summer of 2005.
Yes.
Right before the draft, second round pick.
Yeah, that we got him. And that kind of started to turn the tide to the defense, kind of catching up with the offense at that time, because in 2004, Priest Holmes got hurt. Larry Johnson had to come in and take over the rest of the season in the middle of the season. And the offense was getting kind of a little older. Eddie Kennison was older. Tony Gonzalez still in his prime, but Trent Green was getting older. Priest Holmes was becoming a little more injury prone. So I thought that Patrick Surtain would be the the end of the piece for the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. And didn't even make the damn playoffs in 2005.
Yeah, but I love that he and Sammy Knight came in together, and Kendrell Bell. The three of them together made that defense a top 15 defense. I think as a whole, it was they were a good package.
And if you remember back in the 05 season too, Eric Warfield matching up with Surtain, but Warfield was suspended for the first 4 games because of DUI. Tyrann Mathieu, Lord, I was so all in on him. I'm like, yes, Brett Veach is really rolling the dice. We got us another superstar in Kansas City. Ended up winning the Super Bowl. So I was extremely excited about Honey Badger. And Derek Johnson, the same exact reason why we got Patrick Surtain. Derek Johnson, you remember that 05 draft? He literally fell to the Chiefs. And I'll never forget. I was actually calling a baseball game for X106 in Maryville for my college radio station in Northwest Missouri State. And in the middle of the broadcast of me doing this baseball game, the Chiefs drafted Derek Johnson, and I was shocked beyond belief that we were able to get perhaps what many considered the best linebacker in college at the time. And the Chiefs really needed that help on defense. And CJ Spiller. The multiple times we got him.
He just got resigned.
Into the practice squad.
Okay, Michael. Ooh.
Good. Let's do it. So here we go. Number 1,
Jeremy Macklin.
Woo.
Because I expected greatness for him. I knew that coming to the Chiefs with the offense that they had, if that guy came and did his thing and made his mark on the defense, that the team win a Super Bowl, and they did exactly that. Then Frank Clark, I knew that we needed a pass rush, and I'm like, man, if this guy is going to come in here and be that for sure edge guy, like this is like the Chiefs can finally win a Super Bowl, and all of us are Chief fans. All the Chief fans out there know that for us to mention the word Super Bowl and our team, with all of the heartbreak and trauma that we've dealt with through the years of being Chiefs fans, it was like any piece that they said this can help them win the Super Bowl, I was going crazy for the move. And then I got Jeremy Macklin. So I kept it to free agency and trades because it's some guys like Glenn Dorsey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even Jonathan Baldwin, Derek Johnson. And for Madden purposes, Brody Croyal, that I was hoping could have became something to have a cannon on.
Croyal.
Yeah, Croyal.
I like that. Eric Croyal.
So, but Jeremy Macklin was a guy where I was like, whoa, okay. So Alex Smith is going to have his number 1 guy. He may be the guy for a minute. And he did some things for the Chiefs, but not as much as I thought. Ty Law, I thought would be a guy to help put that defense over the top, but he was just clearly, he wasn't the same as his Patriots days. Then Sammy Watkins, like I really thought we were about to have the greatest offense that we've ever put together.
We kind of did.
We did.
Kelsey, anybody you throw out in the backfield, And then Sammy Watkins, I thought we were going to have 3 1,000-yard receivers, that he was going to finally make that jump and show everybody how special he was. And he helped us win a Super Bowl, but he was never exactly what I was hoping for. But yeah, those are my 5 right there.
Well, I tried to rack my brain and really go through and try to find some that meant something to me personally. Some of this are similar. As
no Ricky Stanzi.
Jeremy Maclin for me, guys, because if you know me, you know I bleed black and gold, Mizzou. And Jeremy Maclin's the greatest athlete I've ever seen play football at the University of Missouri. And when the Chiefs got him in offseason 2015, I was so pumped. Unfortunately, he was saddled with Alex Smith and 2 bad knees at the time. Still had a tremendous season in 2015. The numbers probably weren't there. And the Chiefs, surprisingly, he was a cut. I think prior to the 2017 season, the Chiefs cut him right after his wedding or something. It was very strange. Tony Gonzalez, I remember just knowing about the basketball background, the athleticism. And it's this is different than what we have. Maybe this can really change our offense. And it did, in 97 when he came in, and Gonzalez goes on to be one of the best tight ends ever. Derek Johnson, Brian, the story you gave was very similar to mine, although part of me really wanted Sean Lights Out Merriman. And for a while, it looks like Merriman was going to be the far and away the better player. Injuries derailed his career. We met him and interviewed him at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. Big Sean Merriman fan, but Derek Johnson becomes the all-time leading tackler in Chiefs history.
Not to be confused with Derek Johnson.
Don't worry.
As I try to rush to get these graphics up before showtime.
Oh, well. Guys, if you remember before 1998, Chester McLaughlin,
he said he wanted to be a Chief.
He wanted to be a Chief. He was a Raider, a dirty, stinky Raider. He said, they once asked Chester McLaughlin, why does it only feel like you only play at 50% sometimes? And Chester famously said, that's because they only pay me about half of what I'm worth. Well, Chester comes to Kansas City, and it was a fart in church. The 98 team was picked to go 16-0 by Jason Whitlock, and they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And it was basically just a wet fart, and McLaughlin was terrible. Guys, James Hasty, if you remember, James Hasty, my 5th pick, comes over from the New York Jets, and I remember vividly thinking, you're going to pair him with Dale Carter. I love that idea. Hasty comes in. I was so excited about him. Had that pick 6 against the Raiders early on in the 95 season and became a stalwart on this defense for, I think, 6 seasons. Hasty's always one of my guys, and there's so many more. You guys have mentioned a lot of them, and maybe we could have kept it.
Cornerback with the Tony Gonzalez face mask.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I loved getting.
Here we go, guys. I got to go with my list. Number 1 for me, Johnny Morton. Wow. I was a quasi Lions fan after Marty Schottenheimer.
Let me go do the worm real quick.
This is a good one.
After Marty Schottenheimer resigned at the end of the 1998 season, my little Chiefs fan heart was broken to pieces. So I was kind of a quasi Lions fan, 99, 2000, even into a little bit of 2001. So when Johnny Morton came over, I was ecstatic. I saw what he was able to do in Detroit. Unfortunately, he left it all in Detroit. He did nothing here. It was what?
He showed it.
No, it was a miserable failure. He showed out in Detroit. One of my favorite touchdowns I've ever seen is him diving out of the back of the Vikings end zone when he was a member of the Lions. Just his thigh pads touched inbound, so it was complete. One of the best catches I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it was never a catch for the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 2, Andre Rison, Bad Moon. I remember
Rison should be
Spider-Man. I told you guys I'm in love with the receiver position, so of course my top 2 have to be receivers, and I was so excited, especially when he brought out the persona Spider-Man. Number 3, Patrick Surtain. I remember I was at community college, Maple Woods Community College, and hearing that news, and I looked over at this just random guy I met who was also a sports fan, in the middle of the class, and I'm just pointing to my phone, it's happened, he's here. And then we got out of class and started jumping up and down.
We met up afterwards, Noah. If you remember, we met in the quad there, and
yeah, we did. We were just pumped for that, thinking that was changing life here in Kansas City. I was also equally as excited for Kendrell Bell. I made my own Kendrell Bell jersey. I had some old jersey, and I put masking tape over all the numbers and the name, and got a Sharpie and wrote Kendrell Bell 97.
You a Dwayne Clemens jersey for that?
No, I had to make my own number. It was devastating.
Donnie Edwards.
Number 5 is a player that really broke my heart. It was Eric Berry. I was promised Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed by the people talking about him coming into that draft, and I did get it for 2016, but that was the only year I got it. Then injuries, the cancer coming
out
back
his
from that.
rookie year now. Come on now. His rookie year.
He had a good rookie season. Real good.
He had a great rookie.
He did, but 2016 was the only thing I saw that was Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu-esque. And after that, it kind of fell off a cliff. And
Hey, that 2016 season, he was special.
that's legendary. That's a legendary season.
He literally, like Shane said earlier, he won us 2 games by himself.
Yep.
Did you really get that information for Patrick Surtain on your phone in 2005? Did that information come on a flip phone or something then? I mean, what kind of phone
I
did you
think somebody texted me that it happened.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like internet or anything. Of course not. No.
Oh,
Right.
the future, Noah.
Yeah, I came from the future to tell everyone that Patrick Surtain has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. But some sad news before we get out of here. We've got to get out of here. We've gone over time by 15 minutes. But hey, you never know what to expect here on Arrowhead Allies. We've got to say goodbye to the best receiver in Kansas City Chiefs history. Otis Taylor passed away. And 7,306 yards, 57 touchdowns. Maybe it would have been Tyreek Hill if he stayed here, but he was traded away. So it looks like it will forever be Otis Taylor, the greatest receiver in Kansas City Chiefs history, made the great spin away from the corner, up the right sideline touchdown against the Vikings in Super Bowl IV. Anybody just want to say a few words here about the great
Brian kind of broke this news on Twitter.
Yeah, Brian, you were the one that broke it to the world. So
my boss actually hit me about it, and we got the email from the Third Lawn Foundation, and Otis Taylor should be remembered as a Hall of Famer, just a man in his era who was one of the greatest receivers in his era under the rules that they had.
Yep.
And so for those who want to he only had 73, nah, man, back then 300-yard games were one of novelty. They didn't come that often, and 57 touchdowns. And you look at his numbers, compare them to Lynn
average.
Swann. Look at him to compare him to Lynn Swann, who you would think is a certified, bona fide Hall of Famer, hands down, right? Otis Taylor's numbers are better than Lynn Swann's numbers, and that's not me being a Chiefs fan. Those are just the stone cold facts. Lynn Swann is in because he has 4 rings. Otis has 1. He went to 2 bowls. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Our friend George Atkinson has long championed this, guys. George Atkinson, who's been on this show, has long for 10 years said this guy's got to be in the Hall of Fame, and now it's going to have to be posthumously, which is unfortunate, but it should still happen for the members of Chiefs Kingdom and for Otis Taylor's family and for that great 69-70 team and for that era of Chiefs football that we were all, not a part of. It lives on through Steve Sable and NFL films and the memories we have. So guys, it's just been tremendous.
Well,
to break this down.
I'm looking forward to getting back with you guys in 2 weeks. Look forward to a lot of things that we've said and just talked and what I brought up and what Noah's brought up and what we've all brought up. But just remember this stat when you're watching the NCAA, the NC basketball tournament. The last 2 times that the Kansas Jayhawks won the national championship, the Chiefs had 2 number 1 draft picks. So if the Kansas Jayhawks win a NCAA basketball championship at the beginning of April, then the Chiefs probably could have 2 number 1 draft picks in Kansas City.
Okay, well, go Alabama, Purdue, or anyone else. I can't do it. I don't care.
We want to thank everybody for
UCLA,
watching,
sure.
for commenting. New people that have come in, we thank you for watching. This is Starcade Media, Arrowhead Allies. We will be with you. Apparently, Shane has already booked it 2 weeks from today. We will see you at 6 p.m. Central Time. This has been the Allies. Go Chiefs!